Hey, what's up guys? We're back again with the speediest graveyard deck to hit top ladder. The ranked 23 player in the world is non-stop spamming graveyards with this deck. Stealing from Minor Poison, this deck uses the incredibly cost-efficient cards of Goblins, Ice Spirit, Evolved Knight, and Little Prince. Defending for less elixir than your opponent spends on offense gives you a surplus of elixir to spend with graveyard skeletons directly on their tower. So when your opponents are struggling to get damage with their Electro Giants, Golems, or spammy Bridge Spam cards, you are guaranteeing damage with Graveyard Poison every time. And unlike Minor Poison decks, Graveyard can take an entire tower with just one push. Whether that's your Little Prince ability, the Evolved Knight locking onto the tower, or your evil Graveyard Skeleton swarming and stealing the game. Because of the cheaper card cycle with Ice Spirit and Goblins, you can get back to multiple poisons and graveyards to finish off games before big pushes even arrive at your tower. Which kind of feels like cheating because direct damage should never be this strong. It's time to cycle circles around our opponents so we can spam more graveyard circles on their tower than they've ever seen to assert dominance. A whole lot of love to everyone that's using credit code SirTag to make the daily videos possible. This guy is a 20-win player and he finished 500 in the world. So if we're playing against someone of this caliber for the first game, I have to play my best. Also, we saw Royal Giant in the banner, but I don't think he's playing that card after we see Ice Spirit and the Knight. So I'm just going to go for a poison on the Goblin Gang, and I guess I'm playing against a Logbait deck. If I'm playing against Logbait, I'm going to go Ice Spirit, I'm going to get ready with my Goblins, and I'll drop them directly behind my tower. I think this full counters the Goblin Barrel with no damage taken. And we're to stop the Princess from locking onto our tower too, because I got those fast fingers. Guys, I'm a true mobile gaming athlete out here. When I play against top 20-win players that are ranked 500 in the world, my best plays come out. It motivates me for peak performance. We're out here just being an Olympic athlete, training our finger muscles, doing weights that you guys have never seen before. The gravity of the situation is quite daunting playing against someone of this caliber, but you guys know I will end up playing better. So I'm going to go for arrows on the Goblin Barrel. We should be able to snipe all of the Goblins. And then definitely want the Little Prince to lock on the tower, but I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, please? 2 shots? No way. So 3 ticks of the poison does kill the Princess, but it's not worth it. She's just going to walk out. If I did it a little bit earlier, we could have been vibing, but it is not. Ooh, I did not crush that Princess like we were hoping. Maybe we can still finesse it. Maybe we can just poison on defense when he goes Goblin Gang. This is very painful. Oh my gosh. The amount of disdain that I have for you, dude, is indescribable. But we're still winning by 300 HP. The important thing is to realize if you can't remove the Princess, you have to remove it physically with spells. It might hurt a little bit more, but you can use your Goblins or your Little Prince plus the ability on defense against the Goblin Barrel. So this guy, obviously being such a good player, he's forcing out cards that I don't want to drop. And of course, I'm going to go for a Little Prince on the Princess, the Prince and the Princess, the fairy tale that they didn't want to have happen. Why would you go Inferno Tower there? I guess it's going to stay alive for a while, so then you're going to be able to potentially kill a Knight. You know what I could do is I could go for a Graveyard and then just pre-poison on the Goblin Gang. He's going to have to do it. Oh, that's really far back. He messed up. He messed up. That means that I can use arrows on a Goblin Gang, so I don't even have to drop a spell if he doesn't drop Goblin Gang. That's nice, because we get a lot of damage with the skeletons. This guy's insanely talented. No Goblin Gang. No spell value for me. That's annoying. I hate that you're good at the game, bro. How dare you be good? How dare you be this good at Clash Royale? So we're going to go arrows, and he's forcing out a poison on defense against this Goblin Gang. I don't have any other play. I do need to kill this Princess with the Little Prince. Fortunately, our range is very long. I can go for the Little Prince ability just because I knew he was going to try to protect that. It was well worth it. Okay, cool. When will he start to rocket cycle me, by the way? Oh, this Ice Spirit's bound to die, right? This Ice Spirit was destined to die. We have to go Evolved Knight to predict the Princess. We can go for a Little Prince in the middle. This guy's insanely good. I can't believe he's this good at the game. This is really annoying, actually. We have to go for a Graveyard, and then we're going to go for a poison preemptively because he's going to drop his Goblin Gang further back. If he doesn't drop that, then I'd be surprised. I guess I am slightly shocked. I'm going to go Ice Spirit in the middle so then he can't Princess at the River, and he does Princess at the River anyway. Now I can go in for the Knight, and that Princess was, I guess, dropped earlier, and it was just queued into. Like, sometimes when you spam a card and you don't have enough elixir, it forces you to drop the card when you get just enough elixir. I think that's what happened to him. Man, this guy is so good. I'm going to go for another Graveyard, and I'm going to preemptively poison, and then I'm going to go for Goblin's Ice Spirit. I think this should be able to full counter with no damage taken, and then obviously he's going to probably go in for a Princess when he can afford to, so we need to continuously go in for Knights. Also, if you guys are unaware, the best thing to do is actually go in for Graveyard's Poison, and then not even have a tank, because it will guarantee you damage, and it's still a fine play. That's exactly what we're going to do again. We're just going to pre-poison again, and we're not going to have a tank, and we're going to force out a lot of elixir from our opponent, which he doesn't want to drop. So he'll maybe get back to another Princess, so I need to go in for a Little Prince here, because I need to be able to pulverize this Princess. Then I'm going to go in for a knight. I'm going to go in for the evolved knight just to body block a little bit more so he doesn't get too much of priority on us. We can ice spirit because I think he dropped it a little bit too far off to the side. And then our princess tower might be able to finish off all the goblins because he messed that up. Identifying that allowed me to conserve my elixir so then I can go for arrows on his princess and flex on him a little bit. This is a bit risky to do, but I just want the damage and I want to win. So we're going to go in for the Ice Spirit Goblin Barrel, and then we should be able to poison and win the game. I played that perfectly at the end, identifying the Goblin Barrel so that I could prioritize my offense and spend more elixir to finish off the game faster. And those are the plays that you need to do against the best players in the world. Because even though I got an early lead, I really had to fight for that match. And I guess we earned an awesome reward, a Mega Lightning Chest. Let's open it live right now. Honestly, I don't really get much from it, or I shouldn't get that much from it. But because I am not fully maxed out at level 15 because I didn't gem everything, I've been gradually, slowly leveling up my cards. This will give me a ton of elite wildcards. It doesn't matter what I get. It's just, I want to see how much elite wildcards I get at the end. That's what really matters to me. Okay, we're going to get a legendary. But do I get a champion? I don't get a champion. No. Yo, dude, I just wanted to do the 9 strikes on this until I get a champion. That'd be pretty cool. How much do I get? So 4,000 elite wildcards. That's not even a 10th of an upgrade. The amount of elite wildcards that it takes for one level 15 card is absolutely disgusting. Hopefully they add more ways to earn them in the future, like buffing grand challenges. You guys let me know down below in the comment section if you have any ideas. After beating that incredible logbait player, we've pushed up to 3,000 in the world. Hey, this guy's gonna have a red name and an ice cold banner with the Ice Spirit. So I want to give him exactly what he wants. Ice Spirit, I choose you. I'm going to be spam that and release it from our Pokeball. I think, oh, it does poke through and gives us around 150 damage. Pretty funny when you look at it and it's like 1 elixir, and then the zap, despite costing 2, doesn't even do half as much as the Ice Spirit. It's pretty ridiculous if you ask me, but I guess you're paying a premium for guaranteed damage from the zap, whereas you know that the Ice Spirit has potential of not connecting to the tower. So, all right, Little Prince. Oh, it goes back on the Goblin Giant. Shrek, you're going to get put in your prison again. You're going to turn into a Goblin Cage. I think it would be derpy if the Goblin Giant turned into a building as an evolution. I would love to see that. Just like, for once, a card gets worse because of the evolution in some capacity. I want to see some downside of the evolution. Like, maybe the Goblin Giant is ridiculously overpowered, but it's in a cage and it just can't come out for a while, and it can't even distract anything. It's just like sitting there watching. I would love to see that. Clash Royale needs to come up with unique ways of incorporating evolutions where they're not just overpowered every time and you always get value out of them regardless. Because right now, in my opinion, the evolutions, it's hard to not get value out of an evolution in most situations. Like you drop evolved archers, you're always going to get a positive elixir trade. You split up evolved skeletons, your opponent has to zap and log on both sides and spend 4 elixir. It's like, well, that's kind of dumb because, you know, they only cost 1 elixir themselves. But yeah, for me, I want to see some downside of playing the cards so then, you know, evolutions are a bit more fair and balanced. But right now, their card design is they're always trying to make sure that evolutions are the strongest cards in the game regardless of everything else. So even if, you know, the evolutions are broken, their concept is everyone's going to have evolutions, but not everyone has evolutions. So that's kind of the flawed logic right now. Anyway, getting back to the game here, we are decimating this Goblin Giant player without even having to try. I mean, Little Prince is really strong on defense. And then Bomb Tower is the reason why this matchup is good. Oh my gosh, Little Prince putting in the work, locking onto the tower and loading up the value. So I'm going to get ready with the graveyard here and then poison on the Little Prince. And then I think I can go for an Ice Spirit on top of this Fisherman and full counter. So if you guys are unaware, the Ice Spirit does full counter a Fisherman for a +2 elixir trade. That's one of the best trades that you can do in the entire game. It also works with Heal Spirit or any spirit in the game. You just have to have your interactions down right. All right, so this is a little bit risky. I mean, our Little Prince is subjected to getting fireballed if our opponent wants to drop that card, and of course he's going to. We're going to get a bit risky out here with an Ice Spirit and then going for Goblins to fully counter the Goblin Giant. And I cycled the Knight on the right-hand side just because I didn't want to eat any damage at all, but that was definitely not the right play to play. I think I'm going to go for a Graveyard, and with the Knight tanking, it should give us something. I just don't know how much. Also, we can arrows immediately on top of the... yeah, I think that's worth. I mean, we captured most of his units. We could poison as well for even more damage. Screw it. I'm going to do it. All this stuff should die to the poison. It should tick down, right? We don't care. We don't care if you go for Little Prince ability. It'll be bad if you do. Cool. We can Ice Spirit. Does that lock onto the tower or nah? That's the question I don't have an answer for. Please. Yes. Just the spirit chip. The fun things in life. All right. We're going to go for a Knight, and then we're going to go in for a Little Prince here, and I'm going to get ready to go and click the ability, and then I want arrows on all the minions on the left-hand side, because I think the Goblin Giant will just die to Little Prince, so I don't have to over-defend it. Yeah, he's going to go for a bad fireball. We can go for goblins in the middle. The Fisherman might yoink itself onto the tower, or it's going to get distracted by goblins permanently. Wow, I think we played a pretty much perfect game. And now this guy's going to get tossed and thrown around because this poison and skeletons party is never ending. Or maybe it is. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. It ended. Okay. We got to go in for another one. Is he going to graveyard counter with like, nope, he's just going to go all in. He doesn't even care about graveyard counters, guys. He's built different. All right, we're going to go knight. So then the fisherman locks onto the knight instead of the bomb tower, I believe. And then we get arrows. And then poison does 320. So I'm just going to do that and watch it tick down as our opponent decides to frown. It's like a ticking time bomb, and he's trying to defend. Just watch. Just engage in the fireworks, guys. Watch the beautiful parade as our opponent's tears are flowing down his face. I swear, the dude dropped a little prince and goblin giant at the end just to be a part of the celebration. Marching down the right-hand side to celebrate our victory. What a nice sir being happy and hyped for our win. As we continue to march up the ranks to 2,400 in the world. Hey, this guy is part of the surprise empire, and he's got Pekka in the banner. So I don't think it'll be a surprise that he's going to be playing Pekka. But at the same time, most people playing Pekka in this meta, that would be a surprise to me because it gets swarmed by a whole bunch of distractions. Whether it's going to be goblins in our deck or guards in most of the decks, it doesn't function very well. So I'm going to go for an Ice Spirit here, and I think that we're in a good spot. All things considered, if I'm able to get a knight down and then go and body block his little prince, making sure it can't lock onto our precious little prince, knock back the battle healer, we have an onslaught of aggression that's bound to counter push. He gives us a well played. You know what? I appreciate that, man. Let's take more than just a well played. Let's take your towers too. So I'm going to go in for an aggressive play with the goblins to go and protect our precious little prince. If I could get a second ability, that would be ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen 2 little prince abilities ever in my life. Y'all let me know if you guys have extracted 2 abilities from 1 little prince. With Archer Queen, it's commonplace. With Golden Knight, it happens all the time. With Skeleton King, it happens sometimes. But with Little Prince, I've never seen it. So I'm going to poison on the Elixir Collector. It's obvious to me that he's going to be running a Golem deck now. He's not really running Pekka. It's weird because Pekka gets countered by this Golem deck because the Electro Dragon is not something that you can kill. So it's kind of funny that he's like, yo, I'm a Pekka player at heart, and now I have to play the deck that tears my towers and my deck apart. So I'm going to go in for a Little Prince in the back on the same side as the Golem. Idealistically, we wouldn't have to go in for a bomb tower here. But in reality, because he's going to end up having all of this crap coming at me, I want to dissect his Golem, and I want to be able to knock it back into the bomb tower if possible. I think that this will work out. Look at that. That was awesome. But we have to go arrows and also poison to kill the Electro Dragon. I don't think that's a possibility anymore. Because that stupid battle healer is healing everything up. Dude, that battle healer needs to die. Okay, wait. If we Ice Spirit, is that going to die before it jumps? Of course it does. Oh, no. This is a tragedy waiting to happen. He's going to click the ability. I didn't want that to happen. I really didn't want that to happen. I knew it was going to bode pretty poorly for me. But our tower is still salvaged. Oh, man. This is a sketchy and scary game right now. And the hype is just mounting right now. If I go for a graveyard, he might go for Barbarians at the river to stop the Evolved Knight from crossing. Or he might go for Evolved Barbarians on defense. So because Elixir Collector is not going to give him that much of a positive Elixir trade in the next minute of the match, because it actually takes an entire minute for him to collect the Elixir advantage from the Elixir Collector, I feel like if I can get the damage on the Evolved Barbarians, ransack his evolution, and get him into a bad card cycle, then it's well worth it. I thought he was going to hit the Tornado, but he missed it. I was predisposed to go in countering everything with my Little Prince ability, so I don't think I was screwed anyway, but, you know, him messing that up means that our Little Prince is going to stay at full health compared to staying at around half health. Also, he's going to get Barbarians down again, but if he loses his Little Prince and gets his Electro Dragon like half health, then we can arrows and kill the Electro Dragon. If you guys are unaware, Electro Dragon does die to arrows plus poison. So it's a very good interaction when you're up Elixir to do that. Also, what if I just keep graveyarding you? I don't necessarily care that much. I think I'm going to be a certified savage and just graveyard like nobody's business. Because if I consistently cycle poisons, graveyards, and stuff like that, and even if he golems in the back, I don't think the golem's going to cross. I don't think the golem's going to do me dirty. We've got a cycle deck that's graveyard. It's built a bit different than the decks that you're used to seeing. And it's hilarious to be able to do 800 damage before the golem even gets near my tower. And that's the reason that I like this cycle graveyard deck more than most graveyard decks in the meta, because you have devastating direct damage potential. When the last seconds of the match are kind of close, you close out the match reliably every time. Where your opponent, if they've got Golem, Electro Giant, or a beatdown deck, is going to struggle to make it towards your tower through your Little Prince ability and your bomb tower. And if that isn't enough, you have the Ice Spirit to stun their stuff for a second longer too. You jump into the game against Bulk Up, and he's not spending any time bulking up. He is immediately rushing through with the Miner. So I feel like he's got to change his name. He definitely did not use that Pokemon move. We're going to be going in for a graveyard here pretty aggressively if... Ooh, wait, never mind. We're going to poison immediately. Because we can kill the Little Prince, and it's going to be a -1 trade, but we do 320 damage to the tower at max ladder. So it's well worth it. For -1 trade for 320 damage, you'll take that every single time as long as your opponent can't punish you. And because he's going to have a minor poison deck, it looks like, it's unlikely that he'll be able to punish us. Oh, he doesn't know that we have graveyard. He actually has no clue. He sees Little Prince, he sees that we've got a fast cycle, and he's not expecting it. He just uses poison in his goblins, so I don't think he has a good answer to the knight plus graveyard right now. He might have just lost the game, at least putting us in a very comfortable position where we can go Little Prince in the back, force him to poison that, and then go in for graveyards because he won't have poison and cycle to counter the graveyard skeletons. And if he goes goblins, we arrow on them. But as you can see, he's already said, oops, he didn't really understand what deck we were playing. And that's the power of running a fast cycle graveyard deck that looks like minor poison. It'll deceive the opponent, and then you'll be able to punish them pretty quickly, at least in our experience right now. I could go Little Prince at the back, or I could drop it at the river. I think dropping in the back is better because they can't poison it. Every single time that they poison the Little Prince, it's a bad play for them. Because if you think about it, if they poison, the same interaction like last time happened. So I'm going to go in for a knight here. He's going to click the ability. That's totally fine. I can go in for the Little Prince ability, and then I can go for the graveyard, and then I can arrows on goblins that he's going to have to drop, right? Or maybe we just go for an Ice Spirit and of goblins on our own to go and counter his Little Prince. Because if you think about it, the Little Prince can't go in for another ability. It already dropped one, so it's not like he's able to get 2 of them on the map. Oh, easy arrows value. Thank you so much. He thought that this was going to get a lot of value, but now we're able to counter the rest of the knight and the goblins all in one. So bulk up, you're getting bulked down, bro. I feel like we're getting bulks of value here. If we can counter the evolved knight with our own knight, that is hilarious. Because if you think about it, he's wasting his evolution and our knight is still half health. That means that he's going to have to counter it with another card. So he's going to go for minor. Is he going to go goblins here? I wonder. The great thing about this is even though minor poison should, in theory, counter a deck with poison and graveyard, it doesn't because they can't ever poison on the Little Prince and they can't poison on the graveyard at the same time. So that's the huge benefit that we have. He's going to log and he's probably going to go goblins or knight. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, he goes knight, so we're going to be able to catch that. Let's arrows. Then let's go in for a Ice Spirit to reset his Little Prince so it doesn't take our tower. And then, oh man, oh my gosh, we force out a log too? Let's freaking go. Wait, I can go in for graveyard and I can go goblins at the river now because he doesn't have login cycle. How is he going to defend this? He's going to have to go like knight or goblins of his own. The skeletons are still hitting the tower even though we went for a poison. That's the good thing about graveyard into poison is you'll still get like 1 or 2 skeletons usually. I guess in that very particular moment, my RNG was super bad and we didn't get a shot, but most of the time I will get that hit. All right. Is he going to minor? Because if he does, then our Ice Spirit will target back on the minor if we drop it on top of his Ice Spirit. Didn't really happen as expected, but it is what it is. We can go in for a goblins here. He can't go in for poison on the goblins. If you think about it, I can consistently poison on his tower for direct damage, whereas he's resigning to the fact that he can't. He has to sit back and just minor us and then go minor directly into goblins every single time. So it's not looking amazing for him. I definitely want to go in for a goblins here and then go for a Little Prince on his Little Prince ideally and then go for a knight. So then we can go and kill everything. And I think we're all good. I want to go in for more graveyards because that means that we're going to be able to go for more poisons to get his tower a little bit more chipped down. I mean, obviously, this guy's a phenomenal player. He's not giving us as many openings to win the game because he's going to end up having goblins and he's going to have poison. He'll have decent answers to us at all points in time. We're going to poison on the goblins that are going to happen. Let's go! I was going to say, we're going to poison on the goblins that have to happen here because he just used Little Prince. So there's no chance that he's going to go poison plus Little Prince. That would have costed way too much elixir. And he's just done. He doesn't want to play the game anymore. As you can see with him defeating himself by going in for the minor poison on our king tower. The generosity from this dude knows no bounds as we bound our way up the leaderboard and wreck this minor poison player. After defeating the traditional hard counter minor poison with a graveyard deck, we've bulked our rank up to 1,400 in the world. And that wasn't just any minor poison player either. Just looking at his best rank, you guys can see that he finished at 151 in the world at over 3,200 medals. So if you play graveyard correctly, you can even beat the best minor poison players in the game. And despite a pro piloting minor poison, that match was a pushover. Hey, we got a game against 6-9. I love the way that he spells it too, with an actual 6 instead of the S. Top flame. Well, hopefully we can flame this hog rider without it getting a hit on our tower. No, that's not what we like to see. So our tower is bursting up in smoke as he gets one hammer hit, but it is what it is. I'm going to click the ability here, and then I'm going to go for a graveyard because we are up a bit of elixir. He went in for a log and a hog rider that are, you know, not necessarily going to give him anything. So if he's down 6 elixir from that investment, I might as well try to get some extra damage on his tower to recoup our elixir investment and try to translate our advantage into some damage. Because if you think about it from the perspective of we need to keep up with this hog rider cycle deck or we will fall really far behind, we can't allow him to get too far ahead. So I'm going to go for an Ice Spirit here, and then we'll see if he's going to be running a Little Prince or if he's going to be running Firecracker. That is the biggest thing for us to figure out, because Little Prince will just poison, Firecracker we're going to arrows, so it works out either way. But if there's a situation where we cycle things in the back like this, we have to make predictions on a firecracker, because otherwise it's going to lock on our tower and make us feel like a fool. Oh, he's going to have Archer Queen. Well, that's not a card that I thought would be possible. You can poison plus arrows to kill it. Yes, I'm spending 7 elixir, but now he actually has to deal with the knight instead of just letting the knight die to the queen. He's having to spend an extra 2 elixir there with the Ice Spear and Skeleton, so that's good. And then when he goes in for a Hog Rider, we're able to counter it with the Bomb Tower. So the cool thing about Cycle Decks versus Cycle Decks, it's hard to get damage for both of us. Like, it's hard for him to break through a Bomb Tower, and it's very difficult for me to be able to break through his fast cycle cards and get a lot of damage. So if I can poison plus arrows on top of an Archer Queen for a -2 trade, it's not that bad, because in the grand scheme of things, I'm paying -2 trade for 320 damage from the poison and then like 160 from the arrows. So I'm getting like around 400 and I don't know, 20 damage. And every single time that happens, or 400 and yeah, I'm just getting 480 damage. Actually, I can't do quick math, but I'm getting that amount of damage and I'm spending -2 elixir. So if that happens, like, it's always worthwhile because it's better than going for a graveyard. You're essentially paying for a graveyard for only 2 elixir. But I'm getting all of it in spell damage. And that's the way that I like to think about this matchup. So Evolved Skeletons are a nuisance, and that's part of the reason that I still don't always play Cannoneer in my decks. I think the Cannoneer might be better on defense in most matchups if you are not playing against the Evolved Skeletons, but I can't guarantee that will be a thing, so I have to adjust accordingly. I'm going to Ice Spirit on top of the spam, and hopefully we can go for a Knight to make sure that the Hog Rider plus Archer Queen doesn't find its way onto our tower. We've got the Evolved Knight in the left-hand side, so we can click the ability here, and maybe we're able to break through. With the Evolved Knight tanking, the cannon's just going to die, right? Yo, these arrows, though, cleaning up the Evolved Skeletons. The Knight in the right! The Knight in the right! I didn't even see that. Dang, this match is crazy. This guy played extremely well, but he's literally losing to a Knight win condition at this point. Also, a cool thing is we can defend with units more so than we typically would against Firecracker decks, as we said before. We want to make the most of that. If we can, we would prefer to drop a Knight, Ice Spirit, and maybe a Little Prince, because we get counter push compared to dropping, you know, a Bomb Tower that just sits on our side of the map, gives us no counter push with graveyard potential afterward. So we're going to go for a graveyard here on the left-hand side, and we're going to go Ice Spirit, and we'll eat the Ice Spirit plus other spam on the other side. We don't necessarily care that much. He's going to Earthquake, and I'm not going to use a Bomb Tower. I will eat the hit because I have a lot of stuff counter-pushing. I've got a Knight, and I also end up having a graveyard plus the Little Prince ability, and I also have Goblins. So I want him to log, because obviously he's going to hit the Goblins with that, but he won't be able to end up hitting the Graveyard Skeletons. So we baited out an early log there. Now we're going to be able to poison on the Skeletons, the Cannon, and the Tower. That's phenomenal as well. The Skeletons in the back almost got some lucky shots there as well, but it didn't happen. We're going to Ice Spirit just to force that extra elixir, and then we can go for a Bomb Tower here. Definitely need to capitalize on killing the Queen. He's going to log, expecting us to go Goblins, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drop Goblins after when the Queen gets a bit closer, trying to refine my mechanics so I make no misplays. I can go for a poison here for more damage just to get the Skeletons out of sight, out of mind. Then I can go in for a Little Prince plus the ability. I can Ice Spirit on top of his Ice Spirit and also hit his Evolved Skeletons, and then knock back his Hog Rider with our ability. So overall, looking really clean as long as we can go for a Knight and then he doesn't block this from crossing the river. He does block it with the Skeletons, as you guys can see. When we reach higher ranks, people know exactly what to do. Their mechanics are good, and they're not giving us free damage. We have to fight for every bit of damage that we get in this match. So we're going to have to go in for a Knight here. I'm going to go Ice Spirit a little bit lower because we knew that he's going to go for a log. Then we're going to go in for Goblins afterward, and we're going to be able to finish off the Hog. We can also go and pull whatever Hog Rider that he drops with our Little Prince, and notice how, oh wow, it was supposed to go towards the Bomb Tower. But I guess the Bomb Tower is going to come up clutch on defense here against the Evolved Skeletons. All we have to do is go for the poison. If we can get one Skeleton hit, and it does not happen, dang it, this is actually a really close interaction. I got to go Bomb Tower on defense because I think the Hog Rider will get a hit otherwise, and then we can go arrows, and we barely walk away with a win against one of the best Hog Rider cycle players that I've played against in a minute. GG and well played, fun match through and through. I'm just happy we won at the end. And after the Graveyard deck stole the win against the skilled Hog Rider cycle player, there's no doubt the Graveyard Evolution is going to steal the Hog Hammer for all the Skeletons to get even more damage on offense. The Evolutions are so broken that I feel like something like this could happen. Evolved Skeletons hammering away at towers will be in your guys' nightmares. Hammer the like button if you enjoyed today's video, subscribe for more daily content, and have an amazing rest of your day.